Hello class, today we're going to talk about section 2.3, solving multi-step equation. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to solve equations using two or more operations, and you will be able to use algebraic equation to find consecutive integers. First thing I want to address is this idea of sad meat. If you look very closely, this is PEMDAS backwards, so we've inversed it. In the last section, we talked about needing to use inverse operations in order to solve one-step equations. Same idea comes into play here, but we're involving more than one operation now. So the first thing you want to look at is there any addition or subtraction to undo? Just like with PEMDAS, those two are interchangeable. Then you want to look to see, is there any division or multiplication that you need to undo? Again, those two are interchangeable like in PEMDAS. Then look for any exponents to undo, and finally, get rid of any parentheses. So, for example, 3h minus 7 is equal to negative 10. First thing we're looking for is there any addition or subtraction? There is subtraction, so we want to get rid of that first. We do the inverse, so we add 7 to both sides. That cancels out the subtracting of 7. 3h is equal to negative 10 plus 7 gives us negative 3. Next thing we're going to do is get the h completely by itself, so we're going to want to divide by 3 on both sides, giving us a final answer of h is equal to negative 1. One of the most important things that I'm going to tell you throughout this lesson and throughout the remainder of this entire year is you need to be showing your work. You need to show step by step what is going on. It's important for you to understand what's happening in your problem, and it's important for me to be able to see if you made a mistake, where it happened at, so that I can help you to correct it. So please make sure that you are showing out your work. It should look something similar to this. Does it have to match it exactly? No, but I do need to see a step-by-step process in your solving. So go ahead and try this one on your own using sad meat to solve the problem. First, you should have been adding the 102 to get rid of the subtraction. Then you should have been multiplying by 15 to get rid of the division, giving you a final answer of 675. If you have questions about that, please let me know when you get to class. Another problem to look at, we've got d plus 8 over 7. The first thing a lot of people like to try and do with this problem is subtract 8. Well, that seems like a good idea with sad meat. That's not actually our first step. When you have something like this, where we've got pieces on top of another piece, you have to treat this whole top part like it's in parentheses. So that's actually what we are going to solve last, because parentheses comes at the end of sad meat. So the first thing we are going to get rid of is the dividing by 7. So we multiply both sides by 7, cancel out the division, and I'm left with d plus 8 is equal to 70. Finishing out the problem now, we're going to subtract 8 from both sides and get an answer of d is equal to 62. If you wanted to plug it back in to check if your answer is correct, that isn't always an option that you have. So you could plug it back in and do 62 plus 8 divided by 7. Solve the top first, gives you 70 divided by 7, which is in fact 10, so our answer checks out. If you had accidentally subtracted 8 first, that would give you d over 7 is equal to 2 after you subtracted your 8. Multiplying by 7 on both sides would have given you d is equal to 14. When you plug that back into your equation, you get 14 plus 8 divided by 7. 22 divided by 7 does not equal 10. So that's one reason why you have to be careful that you are showing your work and doing these steps correctly, because if you do something out of order, you're going to end up with a wrong answer, which is not what we want. When you have something like this, where we're dealing with our parentheses, the easiest way to do this is to start with the distribution. So you end up with 2x plus 10 is equal to 9. Now that we've done the distribution together, go ahead and finish solving the problem using SADME. Should have gotten an answer of x is equal to negative 0.5, or you could have left it as negative 1/2. I don't care if you are using the decimal or the fraction as your answer. Next, we're going to talk about another word problem. You're the winner of a special offer from Apple. They are offering you an iPhone 6 for 3/4 of the retail price if you pay a $50 registration fee to their survey program. If you accept the offer, you pay $537.50. How much does the phone cost? So we need to set up our equation first. We're looking for how much the phone costs. That's going to be our x. It says you are paying 3/4 of the retail price. Of means multiplication. So we got 3/4 x, or 3/4 times the price. You are also paying a $50 registration fee. So in addition to what you pay for the phone, you're paying $50 more. Your total cost is $537.50. So that's how we would go about setting up that problem. Then we would need to solve it first by subtracting $50. So we end up with 3/4 x is equal to $487.50. Then in order to get rid of a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal. So we multiply both sides by 4/3, and we end up with a final answer of x is equal to $650. So our original price was $650. Again, it's a word problem, so I have a label on it. The other piece of this lesson today is talking about something called consecutive integers. These are integers or numbers that are put in counting order. So we have a few different types. Regular consecutive integers can be represented as n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus 3. It keeps going on and on. So if I said that n was 8, n plus 1 is 9, n plus 2 is 10. So 8, 9, and 10 are consecutive integers. They are numbers in order on the number line. We also have two more specific versions talking about consecutive even or consecutive odd. If you notice, the pattern or the symbols for both of those are the same. N plus 2, n plus 4. With the even integers, n starts as an even number. So for example, again, if I pick n is equal to 8, n plus 2 gives us 10, n plus 4 gives us 12, and we continue going up every 2, starting with an even number. Same pattern works if you start with an odd number. So if I started with n is equal to 9, n plus 2 would give me 11, n plus 4 would give me 13, and I would be able to keep going with my odd numbers. We are able to use these symbols to set up to actually solve for numbers that we don't know. So the first one asks us, find 3 consecutive odd integers whose sum is 75. So we're going to be using the pattern of n plus 2, and n plus 4. That stands for our first number, second number, and third number. Again, that's following the odd pattern from that table. It's asking us whose sum is 75. If you remember back to our list of keywords, sum means addition. So we need to add up all of our numbers. The first number is n. The second number is n plus 2. The third number is n plus 4. And we're adding all of those up to 75. We're going to simplify this equation a little bit now so that we can solve. If you look at it, we've got 3 separate n's, which means we have 3 n's, three n's being added together is the same as multiplying by 3. And then we're adding on 6. 2 plus 4 gives us 6. So I've simplified the equation to say 3n plus 6 is equal to 75. So solving, first thing we do is subtract 6, which gives me 3n is equal to 69. And to finish, we're going to divide by 3. So that tells me that n is equal to 23. We're not quite done with the problem yet because it asks us to find 3 consecutive numbers. So our first number is 23. Our next consecutive odd number is 25. That's the n plus 2. And our next consecutive number is 27, which is the n plus 4. If you wanted to double check, you could do 23 plus 25 plus 27. Add those up. You get 15. Carry the 1. 75. So it checks out. So your 3 consecutive integers are 23, 25, and 27. Go ahead and try this one on your own. You are finding 3 consecutive integers, so that's that first pattern off of the table. So we've got x, x plus 1, and x plus 2 are our 3 separate numbers. Adding those all together to get 21. Simplifying, we get 3x plus 3 is equal to 21. Subtract 3 from both sides and then divide by 3. You end up with an answer of 6. So your numbers are 6, 7, and 8. If you have questions about consecutive integers or anything else from this lesson, please let me know when you get to class.